Hey guys, this is Eckhartsladder. Hello and welcome to another video. So I just got finished playing 5 hours plus of Star Wars Squadrons as a part of Operation Ace. I want to talk about my experiences with the tournament, which was really phenomenal, and also show you guys uncut footage from a match we played during the day. For those who don't want to watch the entire video and just want to know how Twin Sun Squadron did, which is the squadron I formed with, of course, Corey and Charlie from EcksToo and my friends Wasted Space and Captain Shack, or the XP Gamers. Well, we didn't win the entire tournament, just to be frank. We didn't get the most wins. I think we were third or fourth. However, I would say that Twin Sun Squadron absolutely dominated the commendations. I received the award for Baron, being the person who had the most eliminations throughout the entire tournament, although I will say Alex, Star Wars Explained, was only 3 behind, and had he not ran into a very tough team in the last game, I would have lost. Charlie, who was running support through the entire tournament, did a phenomenal job and had the most assists, and if heals had still been counted, would have definitely had the most heals. And Captain Shack dominated bombing and won the commendation for most capital ship damage at nearly 1,000,000 points, which is just incredible. He had multiple games of over 100,000 capital ship damage. He was really single-minded and a great team player, so shout out, of course, to Charlie and Captain Shack. But let's talk about the tournament itself. And I also have to give a shout out to the team that organized Operation Ace. First of all, this was an incredibly well done and produced tournament. If you guys want to watch Operation Ace as presented, which I highly encourage, to be honest, the entire thing was commentated. They had great graphics and information that I'll link to their Twitch channel. And again, the organizers did a phenomenal job. They really had quite a task because they had 5 teams of 5 members each. They had to track statistics for every single game played over 5 hours, and it all mostly went off without a hitch, which is great. We were even lucky enough to have a few squad versus squad games mixed in, which I've included as footage for this video. I'm not sure which one, but I'll put some sort of marker up on the screen so you know the other squad. The way this works, as I've sort of alluded to, is that the 5 teams each essentially did 5 hours of matchmaking. The team with the most wins, well, won. But there were other commendations, including the ones I mentioned, but also an award for not dying, which we did not win. One support ship on Alex's team, Stash Squadron, had 0 kills throughout the entire tournament. They were basically just resupplying their team, and that's not a knock against them at all, but because they were playing so defensively, only had 50 some deaths, which is 5 deaths an hour. Pretty impressive. But yeah, that was the only commendation that as a team we didn't take, and I think that was part of our problem. And I've got to take full blame for this. At least when I say problem, the reason why we didn't win more games than we could have. We had a few tight matches against Star Wars Explained's team and Bombastic's team, and I think the difference for us was the fact that we were just playing within our specific roles, whereas Bombastic, for example, would fully switch to bombers when they were attacking. Now, this is partially because when we designed the team, we did it to win commendations. At first, we thought that the team that got the most commendations won, but in the end it was most wins. So I honestly, despite having the Baron award, wasn't always as helpful to the team as I could have been. I was in the bottom half of the tournament for capital ship kills. To be honest, I had quite a few deaths. I think I was only number 4 for deaths despite having the most kills. So I contributed to the team in a very single-minded fashion. Now, obviously getting a lot of kills is really useful when you're on defense or at the beginning of the game, but when it comes down to the wire and you need to destroy capital ships or frigates, well, it's a lot less useful in that case, and that's on me. Wasted Space, who was also a member of our team, did much better. First of all, he had the best kill-death ratio of the entire tournament and was top 4 for assists, mostly while playing with an interceptor like myself. He did phenomenally, and he also had more capital ship damage than I did, so really he just played a little less aggressively, went less purely for kills as based on commendations, but probably helped the team more in the long run than I did. And that's the same for Shack. Shack really carried our team to several victories because he was doing a lot of bombing. Him and Charlie had a really great thing going on. Charlie, playing support, was basically on Captain Shack for every single bombing run. They developed this strategy where Charlie would fire off the resupply the moment that Shack would exhaust his bombs, so he could essentially do 2 bombing runs in one, which was very, very useful and helped Shack just absolutely tear up capital ships and get a load of damage done. Corey was also sort of flex player. He was useful because he would go between fighter or interceptor or bomber and basically help out whatever needed. And I think if I were going to try to reorganize the squad again or to practice beforehand, one of the main differences would be that I'd probably play more like Corey myself because I am a pretty decent bomber, and I think sometimes having even 3 players in bombers might be advisable. When it comes to my loadout specifically, for the majority of the tournament, I went with an interceptor. I went with stock lasers, I went with the reflect hull, which helps you keep stealth, I went with the ship regeneration, and I went with the stealth package, which allows you to remove yourself from enemy sensors. To be happy, even though my kill death was below 2, I'm still pretty satisfied after this tournament. The games were really competitive, even when not playing against other teams, just because when you queue up with 5-mans in Squadron, you're usually encountering good coordinated players. I found the stealth package to be just really helpful. It allowed me to escape and survive a lot, but I think I played a little too aggressively, and when I play in the future, I'm going to try to play to the strengths of that loadout, which is basically the fact that you can attack when you want to, you can escape most situations. I've got to play more on that. But let's talk about games, and the first thing to mention is fatigue. Star Wars Squadrons is a pretty intense game. I'm not used to playing 5+ hours of it. You know, I can play 5 hours of Mario Kart or other sort of more casual games, but Star Wars Squadrons, you need to be always on for every life. You need to be coordinating with your team, and personally, I hit a rut like right in the middle of the tournament. I had a couple of games where I think I had 10 kills. I had one game where I even went maybe -1 in total for kills, so that hurt, and I thought that that had kind of screwed me over for the Baron commendation. Luckily, EcksToo and really everyone was also dealing with this sort of fatigue, so it was universal. I've got to say, I also did get frustrated at some parts, and one of the reasons for that is that we encountered one team who was using the AI creep strategy, and we faced them 2 times. For those who don't know, there's a current strategy that exploits the way AI is set up in the game, which allows an attacking team with 2 frigates to farm AI basically indefinitely because their frigates move up to the middle of the map where the AI spawns, and they can just farm so many AI that their morale meter is constantly increasing, and you can never fully repel the attack, at least if the other team is playing well and being coordinated. So those were like 2 lost games, and even against other teams, I was getting frustrated by AI farming, even if that is a viable strategy within the game and one that even I've recommended. I know Bombastic's team was really good at farming AI, and I did give them a bit of flack over that. I was mostly joking, but although we played individually really well against them, they played very well as a team and managed to secure a win against us. And they weren't abusing the mechanic, they were just pulling it off better than we were, so full credit to them. Overall, most games, I think we had like 10 AI kills or less for our top player, so if we were playing fully competitive, I think that's something that we would want to improve on, but we also sort of felt like it's not really something that should be in the game. We were getting frustrated when other people were doing it to us, so we weren't excessively farming AI or even doing it as much as reasonably we should have. And that's not a knock on other teams either, and just generally I think that our teamwork could have been better. Personally, I feel like a lot of the time I was off doing my own thing, where sometimes Shaq and the other players were coordinating a bombing run. I was more focused on getting kills, which isn't a winning strategy, I've realized. Stash Squadron was also fairly well coordinated, although I felt like we could keep up with them on dogfighting. We were having trouble repelling their bombing runs. We were close though, and Stash Squadron ended up winning the tournament. If we had flipped those 2 games, things would have looked different, but of course we didn't. I'd say they beat us, not easily, but pretty handedly their first game, and we made it very close in the second game. But I've got to give them a lot of credit because their team had clearly put in a lot of practice hours beforehand, which in hindsight we probably should have done if we were going for wins ourselves. Alex also grew out a really gnarly mustache, which I am a huge fan of. We did manage to win a game against one of the other squadrons, I think Azatru's, but we lost against Bombastic. Bombastic, as I said, did a really good job of sort of playing to the current form of the battle, so they would do full bombers when on attack, and we just could not repulse that, so full credit to them as well. All in all, despite some trash talk, especially from me, I kind of enjoy trash talk, all of the other, at least the other competitors, maybe not that one creep team we played, fully deserve a ton of credit. Everyone played very well. Nobody took advantage of the rules or some of the weird issues with Squadrons right now. Everyone took it seriously, and it was just a lot of fun. It was also really cool because because I've got at least 1 or 2 friends on every single team that we played, and especially the squadron leaders. So what a great tournament. I think that it was a learning experience. I really hope we can do more of this in the future. I honestly don't know if we do another tournament, whether I'll be able to break away from the pure just go for kills mentality, because it was so much fun, but I definitely want to at least contribute a bit more. And again, shout out to my entire team. Everyone played so well. Captain Shaq with the massive bombing runs, Charlie with the selfless support, Corey with the all-around contributions, and I would say Wasted as the true ace of the tournament. But with that, guys, I'm gonna sign out for now. I've got to go to sleep. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and supporting the tournament. The stream on our end also did really well. You can watch the entire tournament. It's uploaded as like last night's live stream, and I've also linked to the Operation Ace Twitch channel. The only thing I'll say is I was rewatching the broadcast, and they said that I didn't know how to shunt power to weapons when I was using the emergency power transfer feature that I've sort of become known for using really heavily in the TIE Interceptor. So shout out to everyone in the chat who corrected them. The commentators, though, generally did a really phenomenal job. Shout out to all of them. The only thing I will say as well, as I just kind of remember this, is we had like the last 6 games playing as the New Republic, which personally I feel like is the much weaker team. I would have loved to get a few more games in as a TIE Interceptor, because that's where I can kill a lot more. And I think the TIE Bomber is also the better of the 2 bombers as well, but we also got a ton of games in as the Empire, and we certainly didn't win all of them. Anyway, guys, until next time, be safe, have a good one. I really appreciate you, and may the Force be with you.